Oh, hey, Joe. Straight on it.
Hey, Church. Yeah, I was waiting for you to turn up.
Oh, you say that like I'm late. I'm early.
Oh no, you're always early, of course. I didn't mean it that way. Can everyone actually hear us, or we still behind the scenes?
No, I think everybody can hear us right now. Just going to
Oh,
check.
hey. Yeah, sorry, go for it, Church.
I'm just going to check with Ferb that the recording's happening.
Cool.
And I think we can get started as soon as it get that. What's he saying? Yes, okay, the recording's going. How are you, everyone? So we're here for the first Crucible session call, testing this out as a format to have you all come in and ask some questions of the Crucible team, which today is Joe. But I'm sure he'll be able to answer a lot of our questions and drop some Crucible knowledge.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Hopefully, some other team members might be able to come and turn up during the session, but there's no promises. Everyone's in different time zones, and unfortunately, I didn't give them enough notice for today. So we'll see how it goes. Otherwise, I'm happy to answer all your questions and talk on behalf of the team as well.
Awesome. I've got one to kick you off, Joe.
Oh,
You've
wow,
mentioned you.
straight in. Yeah, go for
Yeah.
it.
No, I've got one to kick you off. You've mentioned this a little bit before, I think somewhere, but it's just your own passion in terms of what drew you to the Crucible NFT. I'd really love to hear what makes you so passionate about it as a product, as a utility.
That's a very good question. I think to start, I'll say a bit about the benefit of the Crucible and why the reason I like it so much. I'll try not to go too much into what I see it being used for in the future, but just give you guys a few ideas of my thoughts on that. So, the DeFi space, I mean, everyone who's been around crypto for long enough would have seen a lot of exploits happening, mainly to do with staking pools or contracts which hold quite a considerable amount of tokens within them. And with the way that smart contracts are written and how the space has evolved over time, some exploits which were not understood by developers in early days, and even things that we might not know exists right now in the Ethereum network might become more visible in the future, and so on and so forth. So the idea of transferring your tokens to a foreign contract in order to partake in staking reward programs and what have you has allowed for hackers or bad actors to essentially take advantage of those pools, empty them out where possible, and leave users losing their stake tokens and their rewards. So, for me, the Crucible is a solution to that. So, not only does it let you take part in a staking program without, giving your tokens away to a third-party contract, but it also allows you to maintain control over those. So, I've probably explained this many times, and there's a bit of information of this in our docs. A Crucible NFT has an underlying contract. That contract has the ability to hold tokens and interact with other contracts, so it's interoperable, and it has locking mechanisms built into it. So what that means is the user mints a Crucible, transfers in a token, takes part to a reward program. That Crucible's within their wallet, their stake token is within their Crucible, and even if it's locked to a reward program, and even if there are other tokens in there which aren't necessarily doing anything, user can transfer them around. So it's a very, very unique kind of approach to solving a DeFi issue which exists in the space. And in that basic measure alone, that's what made me fall in love with the concept of being able to do that while the user remains protected. And yeah, I mean that's kind of where it started for me, Crucible. And in the future, maybe that will spoil a question that you might have coming up. So I won't go into what I see the future of Crucible to be, but it definitely has many other uses apart from that.
I really like that your framing there is in terms of how it impacts other users as well. So the depth of the utilities, it sounds like it becomes over time the Crucible is the contract that you can trust, that you can take to multiple places in that way.
Yeah, so the idea is the Crucible contract, obviously, it's very well thought of, very basic. And it is that way for a reason. Firstly, to maintain security for the user. And secondly, like the concept of the Crucible's not designed for us to benefit as a project, but for a problem to be solved in the DeFi space, and it's meant to be a solution for users within the Ethereum network. So, when we build things within Alchemist, and we like to try and find solutions to issues that currently exist and put the user to put the user first in those framings. So, so the Crucible is designed obviously to empower the user given the current circumstances in Ethereum or in the DeFi space.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'd like to turn over to the community for a few questions now. If anyone would like to ask a question, simply raise your hand and we can bring you up on stage to ask that. I know Count has their hand up, but they've had their hand up since the start. Okay, we've got a couple here now. Kryptonium and Anubis Priest, you should have an invite to come on.
Hello guys,
Anubis.
nice to be here.
Hey, welcome. Nice to have you here.
Guys, I've been here from the beginning. From the beginning of Alchemist project. I was lucky to find out that from the first about this tremendous project, and I use a lot the Crucible. I know a lot about the Crucible, but I do not know what is the main purpose of the deposit of different token. You can deposit any token, right? Any ERC20 token. But the main purpose is just to have it safety in a NFT and just by transfer to other person like your family, or I don't know, if you want to send a gift, you can put all your tokens there and send it. And that's very nice. But the question is this the only functionality about this deposit and extracted from the Crucible?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. Right now, we have not made use out of that functionality. So, is specifically, what's available to you is, using it as a method of storage or transferring assets. Rightly said, like transferring, if you wanted to transfer a Crucible full of assets which you're holding on behalf of someone else, or that you want to move around for your own purposes, then you have that functionality there. So as the Crucible becomes more widely adopted, then I see a few things coming out of that, and the use of ERC20 tokens. And as we improve the Crucible or bring out further iterations of the Crucible, then additional functionality for other type of tokens as well. Whether those tokens are used, for example, just for staking to a reward program, I mean that's a use case which we have right now in front of us, which everyone has been in the community has been making use out of, whether they've subscribed to the Aladel or subscribed to a program by one of the other projects who've collaborated with us and have their own reward program in there. Yeah, that's a very basic approach. Whether it's, even if there was other applications like gaming applications where a user is very similar kind of concept, is locking their token to a delegate in order to receive some kind of advance or some kind of benefit for doing so. Whether we open up the locking mechanism to add another layer of security where you could potentially secure your tokens and prevent other people from being able to extract them from the Crucible, that's another thing. But the future iterations of the Crucible, which I can't discuss too much today, will give a wider purpose for actually holding tokens within the Crucible, and holding assets in there and being able to leverage those assets in a way that you could distribute value to other people or to there's a few concepts about fractalization. I don't want to, again, like I said, I don't want to go too much into those ideas, but you could potentially have a lot more usability in that respect. But it's really right now, like I said, it's just a method of storage apart from staking. Obviously, as more reward programs become available on the Crucible website, it means more tokens will be acceptable to those programs. But right now, like I said, the limited use has been, or limited availability has been provided. But we will expand on those, and other projects as they start to utilize the Crucible, they will be making their own use cases.
I'm really sure about that because the plan is that there is no plan, and that's the beauty.
Yeah.
I also, if you allow me, another question regarding Crucible, because something that I do not understand in all that time. After finishing the Alud V1, we are going to Alud 1.5, and after the 16 days, you'll receive the reward by staking the LP missed ETH. And my question is, after 16 days, when you reach your maximum potential at 16 days, it remains and keep going, or it stops? The question is regarding should I unstake, because just a small detail, I do not unstake even my Alud V1 because I'm a total holder. Yeah, that's
a very
the
good
question.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic question. Not many people have really asked this question very much. I can't give financial advice, so I'll just give you the technical knowledge behind how it works, the multiplier, and how you gain the rewards, and obviously how the Aladel are working. So being staked to Aladel V1 at the moment, there isn't any specific benefit in doing so.
It's just for my ego. Yeah, I know it's finished, but I like to see them there. That's it.
Yeah, understandable. I mean, you could always, unsubscribe, take those missed tokens and the wrapped ETH that's in there, and you could make some more LP if you wanted to. But the purpose of us, I mean, initially when we stopped the Aladel V1 program, stopped the entry to that program, we suggested users. We didn't give any direct advice. We suggested users to monitor their rewards within that program and then decide whether they remain inside, because there was potential that their rewards would either increase or decrease. And the reason for that is there were people who had joined that pool quite close to the end of the program, and their multipliers were still growing. And users whose multipliers were still growing, it means that they haven't reached their maximum potential. And the way that the Aladels work, and a lot of users are not aware of this, I think the majority of people who use it aren't aware, is a share-based system. So the moment that you subscribe to an Aladel, the system will work out your shares based on the size of your subscription, so the amount of LP that you subscribe. So that amount of shares has been allocated to you. And the way the multiplier works is you start at, let's say you start at 0, and you work your way up to 10x. So what that is doing is giving you or releasing your potential for the shares that are available to you. So at 0, obviously you've got none of those shares available to you, and none of those rewards are available to you. And as it scales up to 10x, which is your maximum potential, you have that full amount of shares available to you. So, we've presented the percentage of the pool that you're entitled to on the website since our recent iteration of the Crucible website, in order to give you a rough idea, like your maximum potential. So if you take the rewards that are in the pool at that given time, and you use your percentage calculation, obviously divide by 100, and then do that calculation, you will see how many missed tokens you're potentially eligible for once your 60-day multiplier has elapsed. So understanding that the system is share based, when users leave early, then let's say they left at 5x, halfway through, that means half of their full potential is not released to them, but is still allocated to them. So if they leave the pool at that stage, the 50% of rewards which would have been allocated to them as they remained inside gets released to the other participants in the pool. So as people are still not at their max multiplier, they leave early, everyone else benefits from that. If you're already at your max multiplier and everyone is remaining in, and no one is leaving before the max multiplier has been reached, then it could have an opposite effect where the rewards in the pool, in fact, because that's share based, that's different, but that would actually be more related to people joining and leaving the pool. So I'm going to correct myself there, and then jump to the next point on the Allerdale. So V1, you could have had an event where your rewards were increasing, and now that is well past 60 days of users having entered, the last person who's entered that pool, then there isn't potentially any movement in that pool anymore. So there's no benefit to remain in there. So now moving that.
Sorry, I do not hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, we got you.
Cool. Sorry.
Thank you for your answer. The main question was, and I fully understand something that I didn't know. The main question is, now it's good for the community to pull back the LP from the Alud program before 10x, right? Because the rest of my unlocked reward will be divided to the others, so it's good for the community. And it got any sense to stay after the 60 days still will be an advantage, and I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about me and the community, and how can I help? Yeah.
Sure. So with V1.5,
Yeah.
let's say you reach your maximum ability, which is a 10x. We do have release mechanism on the tokens in the pool as well. So V1, we weren't making use out of any token release mechanism apart from your multiplier. V1.5, when inflation drops, those tokens are released over 14 days. And in addition, on some occasions when we fund the pool with additional revenue, like from mistakes and things like that, up till now we've just dropped it in and let users access it straight away. But there might be these release schedules as well. So when you're already at your max ability, obviously you're eligible for whatever's in the pool. The pool is still being enriched with more rewards. And at the same time, some of those rewards are being released in a linear way over an X amount of days. So you will continue to increase your position as long as, firstly, there's more rewards entering the pool than there are other people entering. Because when someone else enters the pool, obviously more shares become allocated to that user, and then the total amount of shares that exist in the pool becomes larger. So that means your overall percentage of what is available to you in the pool becomes smaller. So there's also that effect. So remaining for the 60 days and continuing to remain there could be more beneficial in terms of gas efficiency and the rewards that you get than to leave the pool and then to re-enter. But it's an experiment that you probably would need to make by yourself. But it's not, some users who exit the pool after 60 days decide to compound the rewards that they received, so the mist, and make more LP, increase their position, re-enter with a larger position, and then therefore be potentially entitled to more rewards. But again, it would be a gas efficiency thing, because you've got the gas cost of unstaking, then you have the gas cost of approving the token to be transferred into the liquidity pool on Uniswap, then also the transfer of the tokens to make the LP tokens, and once again the cost of gas to subscribe to the program. So it can. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
All clear for me.
Yeah.
Thank you for your answer. It's a complete answer. I do not want to keep you more regarding this. Fully understand, and yeah. I will not ask about the NFT design because I will let someone else ask. Okay.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your very good.
Very happy to be here. Bye.
Thanks. Hope that answered a few questions and maybe made a couple more. Anyone else would like to ask a question? Church, I think we have someone else waiting to ask.
Yeah, I'm just bringing them up now.
Cool. We lost a user in the process, I think, as well. Maybe I've answered, maybe the question asked has answered some of that, questions.
You've been very, very thorough so far, Joe.
Yeah, sorry if it's a bit long-winded. I'm just trying to make sure. Oh, we have Stu. Stu, you're not coming to ask a question, are you?
Yes, of course I am.
Welcome, Stu.
Thanks. Well, just following on from that conversation,
sure.
What can you tell us about the NFT design?
Oh, you got me there. Yeah, so the NFT design. How much can I tell you? I mean, first of all, anyone who's here listening to this community call who is not a certified alchemist, but you do have a Crucible, I would strongly recommend that you get certified. There's no cost to do so. It's a very easy process. If you go to the welcome channel and you type ! And write join, press enter, you should receive a message that will send you a link to just sign a very basic permission data, has no gas cost, and that will just check if you have a Crucible, and what that does is assign you the certified role. So the reason for me mentioning that is we have a Nft Design Leaks channel, and we've been, I think for about a week now, maybe a little bit longer, releasing small segments of the NFT design for Crucible, which is coming very, very soon. So it would be great for you guys to go and have a look at that channel. Unfortunately, it's not open to typing, but you can leave a reaction there if you wish. But I would say definitely pay attention to that channel. We haven't got a release date for the Crucible artwork, but all I can say is it is a very different piece of NFT art from anything I've seen in the space. Definitely very unique, very special as well. We have designed it, or the team have designed it in a way that, surprisingly enough, there are about 39 billion different combinations. So just about enough for everyone on Earth to mint 5 crucibles. So let's hope that we get there. And yeah, and it is very much receptive to your activity in your crucible. So a lot of interesting things are going to be in that artwork, and it's coming very soon. And I don't think I can release more than saying, jump into NFT Design Leaks channel, have a look, pay attention to that. There are going to be at least 3 leaks a week, or if not more, and they hopefully will form a vision for you guys of how this is going to look. But I do think that maybe you guys wouldn't guess how it all pieces together in the end, but it will be very, very interesting, and I can guarantee you guys you'll be very happy with your Crucible artwork. Does that answer your question, Stu?
Certainly does. Thanks.
Thanks for your question. Hope it wasn't too much.
Awesome.
While you're here, you don't have another question for us, Stu?
No, I don't, Joe, but I've got no idea how to get off the screen I'm on now.
That's
We can
right.
keep you here as a punishment if you like. Oh, Ian is gone. Cool.
There we go, Stu. He came up without even asking, so he was quick.
That's good. I think we have another person with a
Jeremy.
question.
Coming up, Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hey guys, thanks for bringing me in. And yeah, I have a question about Crucible and the potential you have in the long term, because I see it as a kind of security level for a crypto, but I'm wondering if at one time it would be possible technically to kind of allow someone else to interact with your Crucible, but without pulling out the fund of your Crucible. Let's say I want to give the ability to a DAO to manage my Crucible and swap one token to another one in order to maximize my profit, but without giving the ability to this DAO to extract the value of my Crucible. Would that be something technically possible, or I'm just dreaming?
So that's a very good question, and I would assume that comes under the AMM kind of category. It is definitely technically possible, and it's something that we have been thinking about as a Crucible project, and thinking of ways how to make that would work. The only issue there is gas efficiency. So let's say, for example, you have 1,000 crucibles, all with similar assets, which want this AMM style functionality. Those interactions with that many crucibles would mean a very high gas cost in order to maintain those activities. So doing it on a pooled base of like having many crucibles to interact on that basis might not be an approach which is feasible under that kind of measure. So gas efficiency is definitely a problem there. But in terms of, like you said, technical ability, yeah, I would say that's definitely something that is possible to include in future iterations of Crucibles, but it's not necessarily something that we might include at this stage due to looking for alternative ways to do that without having to have this inefficiency, if that makes sense.
Sure. Well, thanks a lot for your reply. Really enlightened. If I may ask another one, because you spoke about gas inefficiency, did you guys consider to port the Crucible over another chain, let's say Arbitrum or XDAI?
So there are a lot of ideas about using subchains or layer 2. The issue is transfer of underlying assets. there are also some concerns about, I mean, if you were to port over a Crucible to another chain, it would have to be on a Crucible by Crucible basis. Maintaining the security on the chain that the Crucible originated from does seem to be an issue. So it's definitely something that we're thinking about very actively, and trying to work ideas around potentially having something like that in the future. But the way that we've seen it so far, it didn't seem to be necessarily feasible with the ideas that we've had so far. So it's definitely not something that we're ruling out. It's just something that we need to potentially get more experience and or even just see other use cases in the same kind of domain in order to build another vision for how we could attack this this potential use case.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. And just porting the contract in order to mint a new Crucible directly into another chain instead of porting an existing Crucible into a new chain. Would that be
Yes,
something?
that would be fine, but then you would have no direct correlation between the crucibles that exist, for example, in L1 and L2. There would be no ability to send them across chains and maintain those stakes and what have you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally makes sense. All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for your question.
Thanks so much, Jeremy. What else have we got now?
We have a celebrity coming on.
Hey,
Do you want to
Cybertooth.
bring? Yeah, Cybertooth Cat. Hey,
Hey,
Cyber.
guys.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate you before you ask a question. I think that was a fantastic show that you've pulled off on Copper with the NFT drop, and I think I speak on behalf of the community. First of all, like, thank you very much. I mean, you've returned so much value to the community, and everyone has benefited widely from that. And just overall, I was very impressed. The artwork and the music and everything that you guys behind the scenes have done, absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been the most unique and rewarding artistic experience of my life, and I've done a lot of art. The collaborators that worked with me were absolutely world class, and I believe that the Alchemist development team in this community is one of the best opportunities anywhere in the world to collaborate with good people and have success while you're doing it. So I really appreciate that. So my question is, I'm trying to learn a little bit more about impermanent loss. So I've been watching some videos and I've kind of wrapped my head around impermanent loss. I think a lot of people don't understand it because when I really got into it and sort of learned, I was like, that's not what I thought it was. But my question is, it's clear that the Crucible gives us rewards and benefits that far outweigh impermanent loss. Impermanent loss is a thing that happens, but I thought it might be good for myself and for the listeners here to kind of understand what is the core mechanism that a Crucible gives us, that really outweighs the potential drawbacks of something like impermanent loss.
Okay, that's a good question. I think we would divide Crucible to Aladel in that particular question. The reason for doing so, or do you mean more like actually having to create the LP and suffer the impermanent loss for the benefits of the Crucible? Is that maybe frame your question a little bit more?
Yeah, my question was sort of over time, impermanent loss can happen, and it's something that is there. But in the videos that I'm watching, they're saying, just look into what your staking pool or your product gives you that supersedes impermanent loss wherever it may come in. So you can see that I have a really rudimentary understanding of it. So I'm okay any way that you would like to approach the question. My main idea is it seems clear that the Crucible gives us plenty of advantages, which when you're weighing it in the balances far outweighs impermanent loss. And I just wondered if you could speak to, what that is. What's the core mechanism that makes a person say, okay, I could have impermanent loss here, but it's totally worth it to mint the Crucible and hold the Crucible, with the Aludel rewards.
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, I understood it a lot more when you've explained it to me like that. So apologies, if I'm being a bit slow today. Right. So first of all, yes, you do suffer impermanent loss with liquidity pools. Maybe it's a good opportunity for me to explain that to users while you're all here. So the way liquidity pools work is the liquidity pools themselves exist in order for exchanges of tokens to be made on dexes, and activities that happen in the pool are you have to actually understand what type of pool you're dealing with. So a Uniswap pool is a 50-50 balance, weighted balance of tokens in a pool. So in our case, we have a mist wrapped ETH pool. So the Uniswap pool has to maintain a USD value for 50-50 of mist and ETH that's inside the pool. So when either of those tokens changes value and the other one doesn't, then there will be a sell activity of a token in order to make up the difference there, or a buy activity to make up the difference. And the more that one token moves or outweighs the other, the more difference there will be in activities of buying and selling into that pool in an automated fashion. So those activities, when the two tokens within the pool don't move equally, those activities can cause impermanent loss on the value of what you've inputted at the time. So you might enter the pool with, for example, 10 mist and half an ETH. Don't hold me to that calculation, that was very random. And you might later find that you've only got 6 or 7 mist and more ETH, or it might go the opposite way around. So that's the impermanent loss. And as the value moves up for both pairs or down for both pairs as well, equally, you could find your LP balance increase in value or decrease. So a lot of factors which are playing with the value of the pool. Obviously, the benefit there is any kind of DEX interacting with that pool. The user has to pay a pool fee for interacting with it, and that fee is distributed to everyone who's inside that liquidity pool. So in terms of the benefits for actually taking that step of making the mist ETH LP and taking part in the Crucible reward programs, first of all, obviously you've got a Crucible which is trying to solve a DeFi issue and is looking to protect you as a user for taking part in reward programs while not actually risking your invested tokens. So that benefit alone obviously is quite immeasurable, and anyone who's been unfortunate to have experienced a pool being drained, or their tokens being stolen in that kind of activity, would understand how valuable a loan that is. The other factor is obviously we're rewarding our users for making mist ETH LP, and the way that we're rewarding is for those users who've created the Crucible, they automatically get staked their LP into Aludel v1.5, and we drop the token itself, the mist token, is an inflationary token. So every 2 weeks there is a 1% increase in the circulating supply of the token, and half of that is deposited into Aludel 1.5, and the other half is distributed between the multi-sig and the treasury within the project, which funds the projects that happen. So the first thing is obviously we're returning 50% of that inflation event to users who have taken part in making the LP. So you are obviously providing liquidity to the project so the token can continue to operate, and the token also would maintain its value. And we try to reward users by giving them that inflation. And not only that, we had a lot of you were probably aware might have taken part in this. We had a vote quite recently for core products to return revenues into Aladel 1.5, and in fact, that vote was more to be returned for builders. So I do apologize, but in that vote, it was explained that core products, 50% of any revenue generated by core products would be returned to Aladel v1.5. So as you guys have seen so far, Mystex fees that have been generated for users who've been using the DEX has been deposited into Aladel v1.5. Although the fees haven't been an enormous amount at this stage, the potential for those fees to grow in the near future is very high. And in addition to that, we had a few contributors into that pool who have existed, they've leveraged on the Alchemist project name, as you could say, a little bit, such as, Cybertooth Cat, I hope you don't mind me using yourself as an example. You've created a Book of Alchemy NFT drop, which was hosted under Copper, and you've returned amazingly, I think, around $150,000 in raised funds and deposited those into Aladel 1.5. So, the impermanent loss that users are suffering for, making these LPs are being offset by these benefits. Obviously, we don't promise, that these rewards are going to offset that. That is something that you guys would have to obviously decide for yourself whether you wanted to take part. But there has been immense benefit for users who've been taking part in that reward program, who've taken that risk to make LP, and there will be continued additions to those rewards that would be distributed to users as the project gets bigger, and as more core products exist, then this will definitely grow as well. So another long-winded answer, but I hope that gives an answer to your question.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, guys, I'll step off the stage now, but that really was helpful, Joey. So thanks a lot for putting words to that.
Yeah, thanks for asking. That was a great question.
Thanks so much, Saber. We got Fantech and $2 Chuck. Nope, Fantech has dropped. $2 Chuck, did you want to come up to speak, sir? I'm guessing not. If anyone else would like to, I know there we go.
It's made it. Welcome. Unfortunately, I can't hear you. If you are speaking, I think there is a problem. Unless I'm the only one who can't hear you. Church, can you hear $2 Chuck?
No, I cannot hear $2 Chuck either. You might have an audio problem, sir.
Yeah, it does look like it. He is back. Do you want to give him another try? Unfortunately, still can't hear you.
I think Jeremy has a second question. If you wanted to come up, Jeremy.
Yeah, maybe we'll cover Jeremy while $2 Chuck is sorting his mic.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Actually, it's regarding the LP reward from DEXs. So, from what I understand from normal LP staking, the reward is going. The DEXs is rewarding the LP, but to the project. And in case of Crucible, where does the DEX's LP reward going? Is it for the Crucible project, or is it going inside the Crucible itself?
Are you talking about Uniswap V2 liquidity pool?
Yeah, for example, Uniswap, the 0.3% you normally get to compensate the permanent loss.
Yeah, I believe that's returned to the users in the pool. So if you have an LP token, then that's distributed to you and the other people who also have LP tokens.
Yes, but in like a normal scenario without Crucible, you get out this LP on Uniswap, an NFT position on the pool, and then if you stake it on directly on a protocol, this NFT is not into your ownership anymore. So the reward, from what I'm understanding, are not going directly to you. But in case of Crucible, the Uniswap NFT corresponding to the LP position stay in your Crucible. So
Oh, right. So this is a V3 example. Is that correct? Because the Uniswap V2 is a ERC20 token, and that token only represents your position. But the Uniswap V3 is an NFT position. We don't actually support Uniswap V3 at the moment, but I'm assuming that that question is based on Uniswap V3, or would I be mistaken?
yeah, I actually don't know the difference between like V2 and V3 on this side. I'm just wondering like where like are the Uniswap reward going?
So because we run a V2 pool, all of those rewards are returned directly to the users. So they go back to those LP holders. If it was a V3, then depends on the strategy that we would take, and depends on whether we have active or passive management of the Uniswap V3 positions. But even so, we would definitely return the rewards to the users. We wouldn't be looking to make a protocol fee, and we, generally with the staking programs that we have, I mean, you probably would see that with other staking programs. They might charge you a fee when you exit, which might be 10% of the rewards that you've accumulated or anything like that. We don't do that. As a project, we believe that we want to reward our community, the ones who are supporting us and the project's existence, which are the LP holders primarily, in every way that we can without
Lost you there, Joe. We can't hear you currently. At least I don't think anyone can. Jeremy, how about you?
Oh, could you not hear me?
We
I
got you
just
back, Joe.
a second. But yeah, thanks for the reply, Joe.
Oh, we've lost Joe, everyone.
I'll take over. I'm just kidding.
Hey, you fix your mic, though. Well,
Yeah, I fixed my mic.
I'm sure Joe will be back in a split second, and we'll be able to
Me?
take your question.
Can
He's
you
here.
hear
He's here.
me?
We can.
Yeah, we can hear
Also,
you.
My Discord has been bugging out, so apologies. I don't know where I got up to on that answer. If you could just let me know, maybe I could fill in the rest.
Jeremy, if there was anything left, feel free to come back up. I think you did answer his question on the whole there, Joe.
Did I manage to say that we don't intend to take a fee from LP positions, and we want to return everything that we for in our staking and reward programs, we want to return everything back to the community in that respect. Was that covered in my answer, or was I cut off at that stage?
I think some of that may have been cut off, but you've covered it brilliantly now.
Cool. Well, it was a bit more in depth, but we'll leave it at that, I suppose.
Sorry about that, Jimmy. Tubuck, your mic is working now. Did you
Yeah,
have a
it's
question?
working. Yeah, so my question is going to be referring to the NFT art. I know I'm not going to ask when NFT art, but my question is, from looking through at all the leaks, it seems pretty intricate, which is great. But I want to know, is there going to be, where are we going to be able to do our full Crucible flex, to show somebody like, check it out? Is that going to be like an app itself, or is it going to be off of the the Crucible WTF site?
That's a very good question. So it's going to come in phases. So we're going to start with releasing the artwork on the Crucible front end. So you will be able to see your own artwork and other Crucible's artworks. And you can put in a specific Crucible address to view that as well. So that will be coming quite soon. So that will be our what we call an MVP release. So we go with giving the minimum at that stage and working towards extra functionality. So the next step obviously is getting this artwork available in other main I would say main spaces such as OpenSea. I think that would come over the few weeks after the initial release. It's not going to be something that will happen straight away. And the reason for that is it has to be a lot of bespoke work due to the nature of the contracts. When we released Crucible to the wild, we didn't have any URI. So it's basically a way of pointing the Crucible to a specific address of metadata. And we didn't incorporate that into the smart contract. So we need to do quite bespoke working arounds for different platforms. So yeah, there will be a small window of time where we will be working towards getting integration on different sites. And, as and when these come up. So I think as a community, if you reach out to us as a Crucible team and say, we would like our artwork to be displayed on XYZ site. So, we might miss a few. We have quite a lot in mind that we're aiming to get it displayed on. But in case we miss some and you guys want it to be displayed there and it's something that can be done, then we're happy to work with those projects as well to get that displayed. So yeah, hopefully should be visible on everywhere that you would normally see artwork for NFTs.
Awesome. Just one more question, if I could get one in. Will
Sure.
there be POAP integration with that, to where, is it only does it only show what's in our Crucible, or is there like some sort of customization to where we can, make it our, kind of make it personal a little bit?
So with POAPs, unfortunately, because they are NFTs and the Crucible doesn't support NFTs, then we wouldn't be able to have any representation in the artwork for such a thing at this stage. Future iterations of Crucibles, yeah, again, we don't, the plan is that there is no plan, and we don't know what that will be once it's released. We can only think at this stage and work towards or experiment on what we're hoping to release, but what actually gets released at that stage is still unknown. But that idea has definitely existed within the artwork team. Representing NFTs and other particular things definitely would be in the list for consideration, but yeah, Crucible V1 unfortunately, due to those technical limitations, then we won't be able to do anything with POAPs, but we are thinking of ways to possibly make your Crucible a little bit customizable. The Crucible will already be kind of bespoke to you anyway, but giving that extra touch, we have a few ideas which might not come in the MVP of the artwork, but could follow shortly after.
Awesome. Thanks for answering my question. Cheers, guys.
Thanks for asking. Thanks for coming to the stage.
We'll get you down. Here we go. Sorry about that. We got Weaver coming up. Hey, Weaver. Wave Weaver. Sorry, you changed your name frequently.
I found it. Yeah, I'm trying to decide on a good one. I didn't realize I had to accept Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, he
All
loud
good.
and clear.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, so this is kind of Two Buck Chuck's question inspired me. Something I've been wondering about the Crucible art for a while. And I know you guys don't have any specific answers for where the art might go in the future, but he was wondering where we might be able to as he said, flex the Crucible. Where is the art going to be available to view online? And first of all, the releases you guys have had so far for the art look really incredible. It's like way cooler than I ever wanted it to be. So I'm really excited for it. But I was wondering if you guys had any plans for AR type integration with the art, because it seems like you have a lot of really cool kind of 3D dimensional ideas for how the art will work. And I would like to bring the attention to not the project itself, but Star Atlas, I'm pretty sure the game is called. Very early on in the game, they released these NFT collections where it basically, you took your phone and you scanned a QR code on your monitor, and then in AR on your phone, it kind of used your monitor screen and it just displayed something on the screen, but then also like had these meteors in between, like in AR realm, to where like it was like half AR, half not AR. Anyways, I won't just describe it too much. You can check it out. But I was wondering if you had any plans for AR artwork.
That's a very interesting one. I don't think there's been, in all honesty, there hasn't been any discussion about an AR version or an AR feature NFT from our side, but it does sound very, very interesting, and I definitely will pitch it to the guys. And I'm going to ask you again. I hope you don't mind. What was the name of that project that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, I'm actually just looking it up right now. I'm going to post it in the Alchemy channel. I'll post the exact NFT I'm looking for.
Awesome. I mean, like, we're a very open-minded project, and one thing that we love very much from our community are suggestions. And suggestions like this are, sometimes we're too busy focusing on things that we're currently making, and we overlook potential opportunities or very cool approaches and different approaches to doing things. And like, this is an excellent example of a suggestion which could easily get picked up along the way and brought to life. And and if you guys wanted to even come on the stage just to give your suggestions, I know obviously this is maybe not the right time because it's question time, but I think don't be afraid to do so, or even leave messages in channels as we go. But let me pop into Alchemy quickly and see the link, because I can see you've posted one now.
Found it yet? I haven't found it yet. I'm like scouring for it.
Right.
Like, because their website has changed so much since then and everything, and I gotta find like their NFT marketplace. I'll definitely come across it. We don't have to keep me in the call for it, but also obviously it goes really further into VR, full VR, because I think like some experiences already that exist in VR could, I think, already integrate custom art and stuff, and like even like VR chat and stuff, or any type of new VR experience where you could have the Crucible, and it would be really, really cool. Anyways, thank you so much for the answer. I really appreciate the feedback.
Thanks for the suggestion. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I'll tag you. I'll tag you when I post it in the channel.
Awesome. That sounds great. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much, Weaver. I'm seeing in the Alchemy chat as well. We've got a lot of people asking for a poll out. Just to clarify, there is no poll out for today's session, but there is a radio poll up available tomorrow at Too Many Trips' radio party. And Weaver, I'm going to move you down to the audience because I figure you finished talking. And
Yeah, I'm done.
We've got another few minutes, guys, before we hit the hour. Did anyone else want to come on?
We've got one.
We've got one. We've got two.
We've got a few now.
We've snagged.
Hey, guys.
Hello. Hi. Not bad in here. Just wondering, is there any interest by any kind of exchange in trading Alchemist coin?
Do you mean a centralized exchange?
Yes, might be.
It's a little bit off topic, but I'll cover it very quickly. There has been a number of interest being given to us as a project. We haven't been pursuing that direction, but we do have the contacts open, and it's something that we can pursue at any time. But I would say at this stage, it's something that we're not pursuing. But possibly other seniors would be better to give answers to in this regard. They know this a little bit more in detail than myself.
I'm sorry for the question, but it's just on the top of my mind.
No, it's a very good question. I think there's one thing which is quite important, which a lot of users. So I mean, it's great even if you had an exchange, or you knew of an exchange and you wanted to put them in touch with the project. I think that would be an excellent thing. There are a number of requirements for being listed in a centralized exchange, and obviously there are some downsides for doing so as well. And it's just not been the project's immediate kind of whether it was a requirement or a desire at this stage to do so, but it's not necessarily completely off the books in that respect. We are keeping those talks active, and we do at a later stage want to pursue that route, but right now we aren't pursuing that. So that's just kind of a direct answer without giving you too much detail, but yeah, it's something that we aren't doing right now.
Thank you so much for your answer, Joe. And just looking for ways to get more traction, and that's what it's all about in the end.
Yeah, it's very good that you're helping us with that, and looking for ways to do so. I think that's a great thing about our community. It's been very, very helpful in creating visibility for our project, and we're all very, very grateful for all the hard work everyone's put in. I would say we have a fantastic new marketing approach. I don't know if you guys have noticed recently, but our marketing direction has been scaling up in the last couple of weeks, and I definitely see a huge improvement in the way that we are creating visibility to projects outside and people in the crypto space. And obviously we depend on everyone's efforts. So, you as stakeholders in this Alchemist project and community members, obviously we'll be grateful for your support as well. It benefits everyone. Just centralized exchanges, unfortunately, isn't something we're pursuing right now, but definitely something that's not off the cards. So we will probably make an announcement at some stage when we've agreed on our first one, but nothing in the immediate future, I would say. But in the near future, absolutely. Maybe Church has any comments on that, or are we good?
Keyword had anything to say on that number before we went any further?
Sorry, I didn't hear you there.
Keyword. You have some.
Oh, cool. Okay, good. That's what I like to hear.
This was a question in regards to the Crucible rewards.
Sure.
I've heard in Discord a couple of times about, using the same liquidity for multiple reward subscriptions at the same time. But there's, certain reward programs there that maybe are more obscure tokens, and I don't see a whole lot of opportunity to double up on the same liquidity. So I was also just looking to see maybe what are some ideas for new reward programs that are in the pipeline.
It's a very good question, and a very valid point about this capital efficiency approach to having LP tokens and reutilizing them in multiple rewards programs and such. The Alchemist project, we are keen on maintaining at the current time a single reward program which distributes the inflation share and product revenue shares to LP holders. So us as a project right now, we don't have any particular use case. The only use case was, as a lot of you here have probably experienced, was the release of Aladel 1.5 v1.5, where you might have been staked to Aladel v1, and I think we had Anibus who mentioned earlier that he was still staked to Aladel v1.5, and then in addition to stake to Aladel v1, still staked to Aladel v1, and in addition later staked to Aladel v1.5.
A true hero.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Anubis is a hero to us all.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So so he had a very, very good example of that where he's probably not explained that, but his same portion of LP. So let's say he had 5 LP, he subscribed 5 LP to Aladel v1 and Aladel v1.5 as well at the same time and had rewards from both. So as I said, as a project right now, we don't have anything in the works to utilize this capital efficiency approach. We do have ideas which we would like to see coming from other people, other projects which have been collaborating with us to make reward programs. Convincing them or giving them a particular a particular reason to do so at this time has been a little bit tricky, but I'm sure eventually we will have those projects who've released reward programs which exist right now will definitely in the future be looking to release more reward programs, and that might be the changeover for making use of this capital efficiency approach, where those existing reward programs would be still in existence while the new ones come on board. So I would say yes, it's something that's not available readily right now, but the technology exists, and we hope to get other projects to utilize that in the short term. And ourselves as a project, I think as we build more core products, as we incubate more projects, as we have more revenue or sources of revenue, then this potentially could become something that we'd like to start using. At this stage, we don't have enough to reward our users, so in that respect, so we stuck to a single program for now. Hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for joining us on stage.
Thanks so much, Kilda. Was there anyone else who has a question? Okay, yeah.
I think we have 2 people waiting to speak, and if I answer a bit shorter, maybe we can fit both of them in. Hey, Bizzle.
Hello. You guys have been very generous with your time, so I'll try to make it quick, but I've been enjoying doing them Gitcoin quests. They're like learning type quests, and they give you some information to take in the beginning, and then you get a couple of questions and you get rewarded with like a NFT on DAI chain for if you beat it. And it brings awareness and understanding of the project and the core values and the points and stuff like that. Do we have currently, or do we have any plans to make anything like that?
I am probably not the right person to answer this. Maybe Church will be better to do so. But I would say that I have seen it being discussed many times, whether it had came from our marketing team or even, I think Ethan has mentioned this a number of times as an idea. But I think Church maybe would be more up to date with if this is something that's being planned in at the moment.
Yeah, we've had a lot of requests for various angles on how this would work, both in terms of just Alchemist as a whole for sort of learning and maybe bounty structures, but as well as interacting with the Crucible directly and ways we could go there. I'd like to hone in, Bizzle, like what specifically are you seeing with this in terms of a specific use case? Like you said, you enjoy the learning process on the Gitcoin ones. I've seen those. How how do you see that playing out in the Alchemist space? How would you see that be used best?
Well, I think anybody can basically create one of these, and I think it would be good if Alchemist had their own, as far as like maybe different levels of, because there's beginner, there's intermediate, there's expert level quests for different things. So like the beginners can come in and see Alchemist and, oh, what's that? Click on it, and they'll get a little bit of information, like an introduction basically to the project, and if they like it or learned a lot, they can go on to the next level. And basically, I think for us, the proposition would be just awareness and kind of a like the marketing proposition of it. And for those people, I have friends that I've introduced to Alchemist, and because it is such a new idea and process and everything, like even some what experienced people have a hard time understanding like what steps to take and how to go about it, where do you start. And I know we do have plenty of information on it, but I'm just saying to capture audience from a different direction, people that aren't here to get that information. They're just out there on Bitcoin doing these quests. Like I like open source projects, so a lot of them provide information on Gitcoin, so I end up there just to learn about stuff, and I don't think I'm alone.
Got you. Yeah. I mean, well, there have been a few different requests on this front. I think Churchy, as well as some of the team on BizDev, brought up Rabbit Hole as another alternative, and I do think there's a lot of merit to how we could approach these. In the recent community brainstorm chat we had a couple of days ago, I think you were there, Bizzle.
Yep.
We've started on the process of looking at the various different ways that we could upgrade our knowledge processes. We've obviously got the Git book, but for people who aren't savvy with that direction, perhaps it's sorry, someone's just spamming the invite. Yeah, so we've got lots of different directions that we could go. I think it's a matter of having a discussion with the community and seeing who would like to fill out some of these quests, or put together that sort of content as well
I
as
got you.
and
Well,
then as a community as a whole, selecting which one would be best.
sure. I like I said, I just wanted to see if it was something that has been brought up and a possibility in the future. I won't take any more time with it, but thank you for your answers. And if there is something in the future, I'd like to like maybe an announcement about it or something, you know? That's all.
Yeah, we'll definitely let you know. We're gonna start wrapping up soon, guys. So we'll limit to these being the last few questions as well. Just wanted to touch on that note, just quickly, Bizzle, as well, is not saying too much, and maybe if Ethan wants to jump up, he could perhaps say a little more. But there are various directions where this sort of element is being integrated with our ecosystem in general. So
Okay, I'm happy to hear. Thank you for your answer.
I'm going to add one last thing. So Ethan has a lot of thoughts, and I think the project as a whole has a lot of thoughts about creating a lot of educational, documentation or videos and things like that for the community to benefit from and for people outside. So I do think that complements those ideas that are being given here as well. And yeah, it's definitely something I would also like to, or I'm very interested to see in the future. I do think that there's a lot of knowledge here, whether it is between the Alchemist team themselves or the community, and I think it would be great to start putting those out for everyone to benefit from and also reward those users. So that's some great stuff.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll exit quietly. Thank you.
definitely. Thank you so much, Bizzle. Ed's my dog. You've been waiting the longest. Did you have a quick question?
I don't hear you.
Yeah, can't hear you currently. All right. Well, while you're figuring out your microphone, perhaps Shockwave, would you like a quick question as well?
Hello.
Shock. Hello.
Hey,
Yeah,
welcome.
we can.
Yeah, I have a fast, short question. Is MistX available on Android platforms? And I ask it because the last time I visited, I tried to make a trade there, and it was like too heavy to load and some laggy. I don't know if it's available, so that's my question, and thank you.
That's a very good question. Mistex should be operating fine on an Android device. I do think if you are having that particular issue, we do have like a QA ticket system on the Mistex help. But I will pass those comments across to the Mistex team. It should definitely work fine on an Android device and an iPhone and any device with a kind of up-to-date browser, support. So if it isn't something that we either need to address or look into a bit further. So thanks for bringing it up, and we'll find out what's causing that issue for you.
It would be nice to check. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for your question and your feedback.
Welcome. See you.
See you. Ed, we still can't hear you. Are you able to try and mute your mic and enable it again?
Just while he's figuring that one out, Joe, was there a question you were directing my way earlier? I think I panned to key audio, but was there something on the marketing or community you were asking?
I don't remember now. I think it was to do with this POAP or other reward approach. I think that was where I was getting at the time. Potentially, I might be mistaken, but I think you answered very, very well to the gentleman who was here earlier. So I think it was very well covered.
Awesome. Ed's my dog. If you're still having trouble, I might take one more question and from someone else, and then we'll wrap that out. I know a few more of you may have questions, but we can if you'd like to write those in Alchemy chat, we can get a response from Joeh at another time.
Yeah, I think this will be. It's not going to be the last Crucible call session, so there will be other times as well when you can ask very direct questions about the product. So feel free to join the future sessions as well. Hey, Wiki Wacky, welcome. I think we're having issues today. We don't actually hear you, and I'm not sure if it's Discord now because you're not the first person having this problem today.
Yeah.
Do you want to try and mute yourself and unmute? No, unfortunately, we can't hear you. If you want to...
Yeah, we can definitely.
Yeah. Sounded like a guitar to me. Oh, he's gone.
What do you think, Joe? One more?
Yeah, one more, and then we'll call it a day. Do you want to give? Oh, cool. Welcome.
Hello.
Hey. Oh, we can hear you. This is great.
Yeah.
Oh. Do you want to pull him back in again, Church?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, hello, I'm clicked.
Can you hear us fine over there?
Hey. So, I have an important question, okay?
Sure.
So, what was my question again? Yeah. So, I think the reason you heard a guitar was because I was in the other room and I smashed it. So yeah, that's probably it.
Cool. Do you have a question for us?
I mean, I don't really know, but I mean, Wiki. Yeah, Wiki probably has a question for you.
Okay. Wiki Wacky, do you have a question for us?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
not that big though.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm a child. Can you kick me from this call?
yeah, I suppose we could do that. We have a lot of interesting people joining us in the last second. I don't think there are any more questions, Church. Do you have anyone else who wants to join us?
I think that's all the questions. Yeah. Thanks so much for everyone who came up and asked a question, and it's been a great call. We've gotten to, I think, 120 listeners at our peak today, Joe.
Yeah, very impressed. Thanks everyone for joining us. Again, like I said, there will be future calls in the future. So there will be calls like this in the future. So feel free to participate. And if you want to bring suggestions to those calls and open discussions about ideas, I think that would be another fantastic thing that we could add to this. And yeah, I think would like to grow the Crucible idea as well around the vision of the community, wherever it makes sense as well, of course. But yeah, definitely very productive session today, and thanks everyone for joining us.
And a big thank you to you, Joe, for taking the time to answer all these questions in such depth. I know I appreciated it, and I'm sure everyone here appreciates it as well. You've
Well,
kept us all wrapped.
thank you, Church, for organizing it. You're the person behind this this event, and I'm glad to take part, and I'm looking forward to the future ones.
Awesome. We'll be announcing those as we go, guys. So keep a lookout, and thanks for coming.
Thanks, guys.